Donald Trump jumped back into the presidential race with three clear objectives: avoiding prison, going after his political opponents, and squeezing every dollar he can out of the process. And while, sadly, it looks like he's made progress on the first two, he refuses to ease up on the third. The grift never stops with Donald Trump. And it isn't just him. His entire family has benefited from his presidency in ways that would have been unthinkable before. The newest example, of course, comes from the woman who only shows up when there's a payout involved, whether through some agreement she likely has with Trump or through her latest business venture. Melania is once again cashing in, posting an absurd and unsettling video that we're going to talk about, all while Donald Trump spirals through the holiday. But before we get into the bizarre clip Melania shared, I want to begin with an essential breakdown of just how massively this family has enriched itself off the presidency, laid out perfectly by Jessica Tarloff right here.
Josh?
Tell him I loved his op-ed. And Greg mentioned a staggering level of corruption. And I just got a note that the staggering level of corruption from last night's meme coin dinner.
That's what you're focusing on, the meme coin.
No, 40% of Donald Trump's wealth has been accumulated since he became president because of two crypto coins. The New York Times did interviews with foreign buyers of this cryptocurrency who came over here to have dinner with him. A guy from South Korea.
This is not even part of the segment.
So what?
You're talking about a meme coin.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about who's corrupt and who is profiting off the American office.
Did he try to cover that up? I don't think so.
Yeah, Caroline Levitt said
you're defending an administration that covered up a dying leader, and you're sitting here going, but meme coin, meme coin.
I'm saying billions.
All right, let's give Paul a chance to clean it up real quick. Paul, final thoughts.
Clean on my side of the street.
All right, all I'm going to say is that
it's now been over a month or two since Jessica's report came out, saying that Donald Trump had already earned billions, with at least 40% of his net worth coming through crypto, and that figure has only shot up even more. But we also have to keep in mind that it's not just Donald Trump personally cashing in on the presidency. We watched Jared and Ivanka walk away with $2 billion for his hedge fund. And before getting to Melania, let's pause on that for a moment. Jared Kushner only had one condition tied to the $2 billion he received from the Saudis. He wasn't allowed to handle the money. He is so incompetent that they gave him the money while blocking him from managing it because they knew exactly how clueless he was. Yet they still tried to pretend this blatantly corrupt deal was based on how much they supposedly trusted Jared. Total absurdity. And this pattern extends to the rest of the fools orbiting Trump, as Chris Murphy pointed out here before we get to Melania.
Video I did just a few months ago about a little-known Florida drone company called Unusual Machines. Specifically, Donald Trump Jr. just went on the advisory board of a very small drone company called Unusual Machines based out of Florida. And as soon as he went on the board, guess what happened? The stock price of this company doubled, like overnight. Because, you know, in this environment, in this White House, everybody knows when the fix is about to be in. And guess what this little Florida company just announced? They're getting a huge contract from the Department of Defense. So Donald Trump Jr. goes on this board, he has a $4 million investment, and then months later, they get this enormous contract from the federal government. It's for drone motors. Apparently, they just started making drone motors like 5 minutes ago. The corruption is just so bold and brazen. It used to be that people who were on the take would try to hide it. The Trump family doesn't even try to hide it any longer. They're just literally robbing from you. And it's your money. And this is taxpayer dollars. Last week, Donald Trump says that he's going to make the Department of Justice pay him hundreds of millions of dollars for grievances that he made up about how he was treated by the Department of Justice before he became president. Now Donald Trump Jr. is just awarding himself we don't even know how much money yet, probably millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars for a company that he just went on the board of. This is outrageous. And whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, you should be outraged by this, because once you are able, as President of the United States, to just steal from taxpayers, like every day, that's a genie that you don't get to put back in the bottle.
These people have proven to be too stupid to do real business again and again and again. And so they turn to the easiest business to do, which is full-blown corruption. Don Jr., Eric Trump, Melania Barron, who is probably insider trading throughout the rises and falls of the stock market that coincide pretty nicely with Donald Trump's Truth Social post. Huh? These people aren't smart. They are just ripping us off. Every dollar they make is a dollar that is stolen from me and you in some way. Not even to mention all the money that Trump makes of playing his own golf courses. It is too much to handle. Which is why it is insane that Melania has decided to double down again with this insane video. Melania unveils new White House grift in weird trailer. First Lady Melania Trump has launched a new production company great ahead of the release of her documentary with an eyebrow-raising name. She unveiled her new production company called Muse in a Friday morning tweet of a 10-second video, which came weeks before the theatrical release on January 30th of Melania. Amazon MGM Studios splurged $40 million for the exclusive rights to the film, which it says will give an unprecedented behind-the-scenes look at her life. Muse Films is the latest in a long line of Trump family businesses which have close ties with Donald Trump's official status. The name appears to have been carefully chosen during her husband Donald Trump's first presidential term. CNN reported that the Secret Service code name for Melania, a former model, was Muse. A launch trailer was posted by the First Lady on Twitter, and it reveals that the company has new branding. With a black background and a large M, it evokes decades past and a legacy studio feel. I don't even know what this description is. It's kind of ridiculous. It is not clear, though, if the studio will work on other projects beyond the documentary about the First Lady, and while using her code name for commercial purposes is without precedent, so too is the documentary itself. First ladies have been part of TV production since Jacqueline Kennedy showed the White House interior, but none have ever made money from them. Melania reportedly pitched the idea to Amazon boss Jeff Bezos and his then-fiancée Lauren Sanchez during a dinner at Mar-a-Lago after her husband's second election victory. 2 weeks later, Amazon made its largest ever offer for a documentary of any type in December 2024. There was widespread cynicism about the company's motivation for signing up a Melania documentary for a record-breaking sum. Yeah, I know why they did it. Corruption. It's that blatant. It is obvious it is very, very cheap, actually, for Jeff Bezos to spend $40 million on the Melania movie and then get whatever he wants out of Donald Trump. That is a very great trade-off for the trillion-dollar company for Jeff Bezos to then be able to cater tariffs how he wants. For Donald Trump to do him special favors for money to be appropriated to any other subsidiaries under Amazon. That's a really great deal for Jeff Bezos. And so, of course, he's going to buy the Melania movie for a staggering amount. And of course, this dumb production company will continue to rake in the millions. Why? Because this is the corruption of the Trump administration, and they're so open about it. But the reason why they feel so comfortable is pretty insane. And Don Jr. actually, and Eric as well, when they were pressed about it on Fox, gave one of the more ridiculous answers I've ever heard from this family.
Critics are saying, hey, well, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. The New Yorker, for example, says the number. How much is Trump pocketing off the presidency? Axios. President Trump and his family stand to net $3.4 billion by the end of the second term. David Kirkpatrick reports for the New Yorker in a piece today the number of why it matters. No U.S. president has monetized the highest off in the land quite like this. Eric, your answer to those headlines.
Brian, it's infuriating. We had nowhere to go. Capital One stripped 300 bank accounts from me, 300 in the middle of the night. They sent us a letter after doing business for 20-something years. All your bank accounts for golf courses and condominium buildings and hotels, they're all gone in the middle of the night. I mean, how do you pay your taxes? How do you pay your employees? This happened across the board. It happened with JP Morgan Chase. It happened with Bank of America. It happened with First Republic. And this wasn't just happening to the Trumps, people with a lot of zeros on the end. This was happening to conservatives all over the country. We didn't have a damn choice. So before my father, won the election, before my father was in office, we started getting into cryptocurrency. The people in cryptocurrency were being debanked just like Trump was being debanked.
Right.
And you know what? It's become the fastest growing industry anywhere in the world. It's actually removed a lot of the power from the big banks who have weaponized their platforms against the American people, and I could not be more proud to be.
I don't notice them talking about the hundreds of millions of dollars we had to spend fighting lawfare. That doesn't matter, right? That was all nonsense, right? Russia, you name it. Impeachment 1, hoax 2, 3, 4, 5, infinity. No one talks about that. They weaponized the entire full force of the United States government against our family. And unlike all the other people who'd served as the presidency before, basically since our founding fathers, Trump was the only guy that was actually a businessman before that. Are we supposed to stop running our businesses? Are we supposed to stop doing anything? He's not involved in these things. We are running those businesses as we have. We came up with a solution to a very real problem that not just us, we didn't just have to face it. Hundreds of millions of Americans either face it or are afraid that they're going to face those kind of problems because they don't just simply conform and fall into line with whatever the talking points are or whatever the liberal agenda is that day.
Don Jr. is basically saying, we broke the law before and faced consequences, so now we're going to break the law again and demand that nothing happens to us. Which is absurd. Do you understand you were debanked because Trump fueled an insurrection and is a criminal? Do you understand people avoided doing business with you because you're simply terrible at it? Do you understand the only reason they want to work with you now is because of your corruption? Are we really pretending not to know this? It's a ridiculous and idiotic excuse for the crypto corruption. And let's be honest, you didn't jump into crypto because you believed it was some brilliant industry. You got into it because it's wide open for criminal behavior. That's exactly why Donald Trump did. It's the easiest channel for foreign governments and corporations to pay him directly, letting him take a slice of everything. As Jessica said at the start of this video, the amount of money this family has managed to make off the presidency is truly shocking. And they've done it all in plain sight, as if being blatant somehow shields them from accountability. They act like doing it publicly means it's just normal business. That's how Don Jr. is spinning it, and Eric is pushing the same narrative that they deserve all this corruption and insider trading because people were mean to them after they broke the law. They broke the law. And it just keeps going. Chris Murphy, one of the strongest voices calling it out, did so again right here.
Blatant exchange of U.S. national security secrets, our most sensitive drone technology, and our most sensitive chip technology, in exchange for cash into Donald Trump's pocket, is perhaps the most brazenly corrupt act in the history of the American presidency. And we cannot normalize it just because he is doing it out in the open in public. The Senate, which is given the responsibility by the Constitution to be a co-equal branch with the president. We have independent responsibility to uphold and protect the Constitution, to set American foreign policy. We cannot pretend this is not happening. We cannot look the other way while the entire moral foundation of our foreign policy is being shattered. Republicans can't ignore this just because the president is their party's leader. We have that independent obligation to protect the Constitution, which clearly says
that these gifts are illegal, whether they're going to a Democratic president or a Republican president. We have a responsibility to our taxpayers to stop a president from immorally enriching himself using the power we give him to help himself instead of helping us.
Chris Murphy has consistently called this out for the entire Trump presidency, and it's genuinely admirable. We have to keep doing that same work too, and we will on this show. If you want to support that, as always, hit the subscribe button and leave a like on the video. If you made it all the way to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.